Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for being with me today. And I felt I wanted to do another live just before Saturn goes retrograde on the 10th, 11th of May. It's just in a couple of days. And then on the 12th of May, Venus is going to go retrograde. So we're getting a lot of retrogrades this year. What does it mean? There's this sense of having to go backwards. And people still asking me, when are we going to get back? When are we going to go back to work? When are we going to go back to flying? When are we going to be able to go back to the things that we were doing? And I think these retrogrades are not so much about going back to what we had, but about thinking about what do we really want in our lives. And Saturn rules. Here's the areas it rules. It rules structure. It rules time. It rules responsibilities. It rules discipline. And it rules authority, amongst many other things. But these are the key areas that Saturn rules. And Saturn going retrograde at 1 degree and 57 minutes stationary retrograde of Aquarius. So some of us are gradually coming out of lockdown. Some of us are like, oh yeah, things are easing up. And the retrogrades are reminding us, especially this Saturn retrograde, to be responsible, to be disciplined, to remember that there is a collective responsibility that we share right now with this COVID-19. Whether you believe it's real or whether you don't believe it's real, we still have this thing in our world. And something that's been able to stop the world effectively, largely, is certainly very powerful. And this whole thing started off at the beginning of the year, January the 12th, with Saturn and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn. So Saturn went into Aquarius. We've had all these lockdowns, Saturn in Aquarius, freedoms being restricted. And now it's making its way back into Capricorn again, reminding us that something pretty damn serious happened at the beginning of the year. And although it may look as though China is quiet right now, we don't really know what's going on in China. Maybe there's somebody online in China who's with us who can tell us a little more of your perceptions. But we seem to have that tremendous wave in Wuhan and lockdowns, and suddenly China seems to be okay. Mixed reports once again. I've heard reports that in Wuhan province now that it's just as polluted as it was before. So don't know. So I think that we have a joint responsibility here. A joint responsibility to be disciplined, to be able to reconsider what was really wrong with our world, not just to say, we've got a virus, we've got to get rid of the virus, and then we can go back to our world. I don't think so. And the way I'm seeing all these retrogrades, because there are many retrogrades. Okay, it happened at the end of November, thank you, Mala 7. But in terms of a public knowledge of it, certainly January the 11th was, I think, the first noted or public Wuhan death. And then from there it's spread. So we're dealing with authority, how we respond to authority. We're dealing with boundaries, how we respond to having our boundaries somewhat clipped at the moment. But the most important thing here is to look at the fact that there's something that's come along that knows no boundaries, and we're trying to put boundaries around it. We're trying to do whatever we can to stop it circulating too fast anyway. So I think that we have to look at whether we could have more of a unified approach to handling what's going on, right? I mean, COVID-19, coronavirus, who had ever heard of these things? We've heard of viruses, we've heard of flus, and now the world has come to this standstill. And the retrogrades, to me, astrologically would indicate that if we are very responsible between now and September the 29th, at which point Saturn will go direct again, stationary direct, if we can be really super disciplined, super responsible in our own world and do what is being asked of us, even if it's uncomfortable and even if you don't believe it. But let's just go with it right now, just for right now, to see. Yeah, can we see? Because what I'm seeing happening, just to give you an example of Greece right now, our lockdowns eased on Monday the 4th of May. The same day and the next day, over 400 young people gathering in a big square with alcohol, with food, with everything, when very clearly the government protocol has been, please don't go out in groups of more than 10, be very cautious, keep social distancing. And here we've got 400 of them, more, just saying, oh well, we don't care about anybody else. At least that's the message. And it took police with tear gas to break them up. So even for those of you who think it's not serious, maybe there are some of you online right here, right now, who don't think this is serious right now. Although I'm not sure how you can't think it's serious if the markets are falling, people are unemployed, businesses are going, you know, everything is falling like a pack of cards. In some way, we have to take this seriously. And my feeling is that if we don't take this seriously enough, then we could be sent back to our rooms again, because basically we've been sent to our rooms to think, to look at our world and how toxic it was. A virus has to do with toxicity. And look how toxic we've been to nature, to our planet. What we've done to our earth, our beautiful earth. Yeah, thank you. How are people dying if the virus isn't real? I don't know. The Pleiadians are bringing on a different video about the virus. So I think it's really important that we come together as cohesively as we can and realize that there is something for every one of us to learn from this experience. There's something to learn from being in lockdown. There's something to learn from not being able to go out freely. What do we need to learn? Why are we being slowed down? This is a slowing down time. We're learning that hygiene is more important than ever. Isn't it lovely now that we're starting to get more hygiene, where things are being cleaned, more consciousness. It's so beautiful when you come in a clean room, everything's clean. So Saturn very much has us to look now at where do I need to be a little more disciplined? Where do I need to be more aware? Yeah, but there are many people who are saying that there is no virus. Okay, so I'm just saying there are many different views. Yeah, this and that and this and that. And we're going to get all this Gemini energy that I've been saying in the last video. Toing and froing. But aside from that, Gemini is about what are we learning from this? Uranus in Taurus is a wake-up call. Taurus is our land, our earth, our food supplies. It's a wake-up call to what is important to us. Capricorn rules time. Saturn going retrograde, stationary retrograde, is about looking at our values of time. How are you using your time, your valuable time? Now that things are slowing down, it's important that we look at what were we running around after? A lot of running and rushing and dashing and here and there and everywhere. But to what? Was it all necessary? How much was necessary? Yeah. And even if, thank you, Coffee Winter, you feel that the coronavirus is a hoax, even if it is, which, again, I don't know. I don't want to get into the who's and shouldn'ts, yes? I don't want to get into the Trumps and the Obamas and the... No, it's not about that. It's about the fact that we've all got something profound to experience and to learn to create a different world. Perhaps some of you would agree, perhaps we can all agree, maybe, can we agree, that we were not treating our planet with great respect? Could we agree about that? Could we agree that fracking and poisoning our waters and felling our forests and damaging our wildlife and hurting our animals, could we agree maybe on that this was not healthy? So before we get into the fighting one another, it's important to see that this COVID-19 is a wake-up call. A wake-up call, Uranus in Taurus, about our systems, the corruption, the prostitution, all of the things that have been deeply unhealthy and toxic. It's toxic. And we're looking at toxicity. So you're looking at toxicity within you. I'm looking at it within me, in my thinking. In the last video, I want to thank so many of you who reached out to me and sent me very kind messages when somebody left a pretty cruel comment in the chat box. That negativity, that poison that you put out, it's toxic. So where am I being poisonous? Where is my mental energy poisonous? Yeah, it's not necessarily in a comment that I make. Yeah. But what is it that each one of us, I feel, has to look at? And I'm certainly looking at it. Yeah. Where am I? I have to be really careful. What am I doing that's toxic? Because one bad apple in that bowl of apples, you can have a glorious bowl of fruit. One bad apple and everything gets infected. So we've got to weed out that poison, yeah? The virus has a message on many different levels, whether you believe in the virus or not. To me, it's hard not to believe, whether you agree with the measures that are being taken or not. Okay. It's something about a massive change in our world. Miguel, thank you. For some reason, this virus wants us to be isolated, wants us to be separated at the moment. Okay? Why? Why do we need to be separated? And why all these, what, you know, it's now all these retrogrades between now and the end of this year. We've got a mass of retrogrades, right? We've got the usual ones. We've also got Venus and Mars retrograde. Yeah. I'm reading some of your comments as we go along here. Thank you, Angelic Guidance. I just think it's important now that we are in isolation. Thank you, Almir. Thank you. While we are in this isolation, this, for some reason, this is what is needed right now. It's about going to your room. It's almost like being punished. For some of it is punishment. So for some of it is less of a punishment. But nonetheless, if you can't see your loved ones, or you can't do the things as freely as you have done before, it's a bit like being sent to your room as a child. And we are in severe lockdowns, some of us. And we do need to think of, if we're not going to respect what is being asked of us at the moment, and we all, you know, people just, some people are staying home and respecting it and everybody else isn't, well, it's not going to work. Thank you, David, very much. But this COVID-19 is a wake-up call. And the retrogrades are about spending time in quietness, looking at what was driving you, what were you obsessive about? I mean, I was obsessive, I think, about going out all the time. You know, I had to go here and I had to go there and I had a meeting there and an appointment there. Thank you, Cayman. And what for? Yeah, what was I doing now that I'm here and I'm grounded? The furthest I've been has been to go and pick up a parcel because they wouldn't re-deliver it. I've not been in a supermarket in months. So all the things that we've thought, that all this rushing around is giving us a time to reconsider our values. Uranus in Taurus is a wake-up of values, and particular Taurus has to do with our earth and what we value and what we appreciate. I appreciate you being with me today. Thank you to those of you who like my video. I feel quite emotional today because I feel that we've got to, I'm speaking for myself here, not we, maybe I shouldn't put it that way. What are the little things that I've done to destroy nature? What are the little things that I'm doing on a daily basis? Thank you very much, Alive in Mind. What are the little things I'm doing that are not aware? Not awareness. Even noticing flowers as I was just walking in the garden today. I had this urge to pick them. I thought, no, let's just leave those flowers where they are and enjoy them where they are. Why do I have to go and pick them? Yeah, I mean, it was just a question. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I feel very emotional about our earth and our animals and our environment. And it's going to be about getting back to basics, to essentials. Thank you, I am Nana Diana. That's what I feel it is, getting back to what is most important. Is it most important to be going in shops and buying and buying and buying all kinds of things that we don't really need? With so many people unemployed, and there will be more unemployed. I don't feel hurt because of negative comments. I feel hurt. I just feel sad about the suffering that's going on in our world now. But I'm glad that it's coming to a head. And I'm glad that Saturn is going retrograde. Great. Debbie's being more aware of her water usage. I'm certainly becoming much more aware of my rubbish and how much rubbish I'm generating. And when I get an urge to do something, this Saturn retrograde, the retrograde energy is saying, wait a minute. Do you need to do this right now? Is it really necessary? This is the question. And I think that we can, if we are respectful, and if we begin to be more respectful of our planet and of our animals and our environment and all the things that we need to live on, our air, the pollution, all the things that we need, if we begin to be more respectful of these things and do what we're being asked for, which is to go inside and be isolated and to consider each one of us in what we're doing, I think that by the end of this year, we could really have got this, I won't say under control, but have learned enough of the spiritual lesson here that we can begin to move into the new world that we want. And yes, a lot of corruption has to come out. And yes, a lot of things must come out. And the lies and the deceit, these must come out. But these are just things that I'm seeing, you know, what have I done that's destructive? And what am I still doing that's destructive? And how can I change that? Thank you, William. So I think if we keep life to the essentials, food, medicines, education, whatever the essentials, healthcare, loving one another, reaching out for one another, trying to do for one another. If we can do that and just live life on the essentials right now, Uranus in Taurus, just what we really must have. It's about having needs rather than wants. So if you can put your wants on hold and focus on your needs and everybody else's needs around you and make that your priority, then I think we're going in the right direction with this according to what the astrology is showing. Yeah. I'm just noticing that, you know, little things. Oh, well, you know, perhaps it doesn't matter if I'll give you an example of my own. You know, perhaps it doesn't matter if I just put this vegetable peeling, you know, I'll just put it in with the paper rubbish. Well, it does matter, actually. The little things do matter. And the cleanliness matters. Keeping things clean. Keeping everything clean. Keeping communication clean. Thank you, Bone Man. Keeping everything clean. Cleaning up your mess. I think that's what this is about. We've got to clean up our individual mess and our mess. And we're in a mess right now. And I think it's important to acknowledge that we're in a mess. And it's okay. As long as we can begin to, yes, there is enough in this world. And isn't it wonderful how nature so quickly comes back? So quickly comes back to support us. How the animals have been coming back in the streets. How the fish have been dancing in the oceans. The bees coming back. It's quick how quickly nature does come back if we will only give her peace and space. So how about giving ourselves space at the moment and saying, okay, space. Thank you, Bowman. Thank you. So perhaps we can see, instead of fighting the virus, perhaps we can see that the virus has maybe come to help us. Yeah, and there's so many new things coming. Puerto Rico, there's a company that collects the food produce to convert it into compost. It's fabulous. Yeah, there's so many new initiatives that can come through now. And I think there's a grief for what we've done. I don't know about you. I feel grief. when I see those pictures of all that plastic and the fish being strangled by the things that we've allowed to happen under our watch. And the retrograde energy is about looking at now, what are you going to allow to happen under your watch while you are alive? What are you going to allow this now, this lifetime, in the precious time that you have while you're alive? Saturn retrograde, time. Are you 100% where you are with your time? Are you giving 100% attention? Thank you, CP Ton. Thank you. Air, water, movement, food, fruits and veggies, and love. But we've got to acknowledge, I feel, we've got some big problems that we've got to deal with. And somehow, in being locked down, in having this, let's just stop blaming the authorities right now. Let's just accept this is how it is. Yes, there's certain corruptions and certain things that have to be dealt with. Thank you very much, Mikey Mike. They must be dealt with. But before we get into that, these retrogrades are asking us to research, to go within, to stop blaming, to take your power in the little things in every day. The little things matter. Had to take my power today. I should give you an update on the dog story, actually, yes. Had barking dog every night for the last 2 months where I've been living in the countryside. It's been really hard going because, you know, just fall asleep and off I go. It's waking me up again. And the neighbour swore blind it wasn't her dog, saw it finally. And then my landlord, my friend, he spoke with her and he said, please would you put the dog inside, otherwise we're going to call the police. Wow, this really shocked her, you know, taking power. She came over, she was so upset, so sorry, it's not my dog, swearing blind again. And last night the dog was out again. I have to say I've had 3 fabulous nights sleep. Really great. Last night, of course, dog was out again. 11:30, 12, I'm woken up again. But now we've got an agreement. I can call her any time of the day or night to say, your dog's outside, please take it in, which is what I had to do yesterday. Not pleasant, but I feel as though I'm not a victim anymore to the situation. So it's about dealing with the little things that seem little in your everyday life, but they're important things, they matter. I think it's time to really appreciate one another, much, much more. To appreciate the things that you really love about somebody. Thank you, Lucy. Lucy, who's online with me here, she's fabulous. She's our moderator here, helping us. She's asking you to like the video. She's giving you links. She's giving you hints and tips. Thank you, Lucy. I'm so grateful you volunteered to help me. So what can we appreciate? Certainly appreciating our earth, appreciating. It's a time to slow down. Guys, this is a slowing down time. I said it in my 2020 seminar last September when I did it. These next years between now and pretty much to 2025, the 3 outer planets, the slowest moving planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, are in earth and water signs. Earth and water, our earth and our water. And it's very yin and it's very feminine and it's slower energy. Thank you, everybody's thanking Lucy. Yes, thank you, Lucy. So this is a much slower, gentler frequency. We need to mother ourselves, yeah? It's about coming home, coming home. creating home, creating a nice space to live in. Aren't we lucky for those of us that have got homes right now? People say that this is a war, and yes, it's like a war. I say that we don't war against the virus. I say we say thank you to the virus. Thank you, Lukwinda Lali, thank you. Because it's like we have to do something. And we don't want to have another wave of the virus, do we, guys? Do we want to have another wave that's worse? Thank you, Bowman. Thank you. Ah, yes, Masaru Emoto did these amazing experiments with giving love to water. We are vibration, we are frequency. Thank you. Ah, thank you, Earth Angel. So it's a lot to think about, I realize, but I think a lot about this all the time. I'm trying to become more aware. It was the one thing that it still is that the Pleiadians say to me 100 times a day. We want you to become more aware. We want you to be more aware. And right now we have to back off. This is a backing off time. And create a new home for ourselves. A new environment. Saying a prayer, saying thank you if you've got fresh, clean water. Excuse me. Saying a prayer of thanks before and after eating. It doesn't have to be a formal prayer. And there may be another wave of lockdown if there is no deadly virus. Okay, those who are dying of it may disagree with that, but okay, we're going to have our polarities. But there is a bigger spiritual awakening at stake here. And until we learn the spiritual lesson, chances are we're going to have more lockdowns. Chances are we're going to have more suffering. So how much more suffering do we need to have until we're going to wake up and work together? Meditating on love, it's beautiful. And we've got to see that we're, what's it going to take? Because, they're going to start, if they start opening up the coffee shops and the theatres and the football and the sports and all of this kind of out there energy, there's a good chance we could have another wave. Astrologically, it looks very probable. So, yes, there are a lot of people still with a lack of awareness and a lack of consideration for one another. So it's about just becoming aware. Thank you very much, Sun and Moon. Thank you. Thank you. So it's just in every moment becoming aware of, why am I doing this? Why do I need to go here? What's this emotion about? Questioning everything. Yet being grateful, it doesn't help. With the reality of what's going on, absolutely, there's a big reality that we've got to deal with that doesn't look at all nice. But if it looked all nicey-nicey and we got all comfortable again in our armchairs watching our televisions and flying all over the world to different things, thank you very much, Bowman. But if we do that, beautiful, thank you. Your attention is the new currency. Love versus fear, thank you. Yeah, so it's really being aware in all your interactions. Every interaction. Be aware of what you're saying, what you're thinking. Doesn't mean to say it's all nicey-nicey either, right? It's not all about love and light. Today when Tassos was drilling the wall, because he's kindly drilling a hole in the wall so that I can get to the other room more easily without going outside all the time. And he said, don't worry, there won't be any dust, there won't be any mess. There was dust everywhere, right? I wasn't best pleased about it. Did I tell him? Yes, I told him. Not emotionally. And then I begin to clean up, okay? But it's not about ignoring what's in front of us. Yeah. So, I think what big question to ask ourselves is what am I learning from this? In a sense, I won't say I was lucky, but I did have an experience many years ago now when I broke my leg and I had 5 surgeries and I was in a wheelchair. It was a really very difficult time of my life. And my world was really small. Yeah, I had a really outgoing world and I was traveling, and all of a sudden I was in one tiny room staying with my dear Auntie Barbara in London. She was kind enough to take care of me at the time. But my world just, whoom. And it was really difficult. Oh, at first, I was like, oh. But gradually, I got stronger and I got more appreciative of all the little things in my life that I'd missed. So I think there's initial resistance, and then, okay, how can I make the best of this? So I think we need to follow nature now, right? Wherever we've put our feet in nature, largely, we've made it worse. But nature is so interconnected. Isn't it beautiful the way nature is interconnected? This divine force. And we need to realize that we're interconnected. Whether we agree or whether we disagree, or whether we like each other, whether we don't like each other, we're interconnected. We're going to have to start working together to be able to clean up our planet, to clean up our act. There's no accident that we've got a virus showing us that we've got to clean up. Mars is going to go into Aries in the middle of the year, and it's going to be retrograde from September to November. And my feeling is that in this time we've got to consider we're making weapons, we're spending a fortune on weaponry, on killing one another, preparing to kill one another. And there could be a war, but I'm hoping that this COVID-19 is going to preempt a war. And that the retrograde Mars is going to bring new leaders, new people. Each one of us now, what do you want for the long run? This is going to be in for the long haul, guys. This is not something that's just suddenly going to vanish and disappear. It's not just the flu. You can call it COVID-19 if you like, or you could call it just the great alarm bell. The alarm's ringing. Are you going to still sleep? Or are you just going to wake up even if you've got to contend with the noise? Thank you for liking the video. I appreciate it. When you like it, more people can join us online. Thank you. So it's a time of deep contemplation. And it's a time of being aware when you want to take action, because action is the yang. Contemplation, peacefulness, meditation is the yin energy, the quieter energy, the earth energy. We have to tune into this earth energy now, probably for about 4 or 5 years. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff to come out yet. Oh yeah, sure. And we've got a lot of unpleasantness to face. The sooner we do it, and the sooner with this retrograde Saturn, if we can be disciplined, Really be disciplined. Take the responsibilities seriously. I'm not saying you have to agree with what the authorities are doing. Do you know what? I don't think they know what they're doing half the time, because we're dealing with something that's completely new and something that's completely different. So, you know, I think they're on their toes as well. So let's see if together we can use this Saturn retrograde to look at our use of power, our use of time. Where are your priorities now? What's most important to you? And not to get too comfortable. Uranus in Taurus, I can tell you now, won't let us get too comfortable. I would love to be a bit more comfortable. I've got stuff all over the place. There's building work going on. Yeah, there's always something. And instead of now saying, I can't wait until this, or I can't wait until that, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to just stay with the discomfort. I'll sit with it and see what I can do differently and see what I can do new. And connecting with the earth, planting a garden, being with animals, appreciating the flowers, appreciating fresh air if you have it now. These are all the great things to be doing right now. Appreciation is the word. Appreciation. And appreciation, when you think of appreciation, and we think of it in terms of money, things appreciating, they're going up in value. You go upwards when you appreciate. It's an elevated state. So let's go upwards. Just remind you to do things with your hands. Gemini, lots of Gemini energy coming. We're in it now, but much more coming. My 98-year-old auntie, she was teaching her son and her granddaughter how to make ginger cake on Zoom. So I'm trying to persuade her, because she's not so good with technology, doesn't like it much. Wouldn't that be fascinating to see somebody at 98, even if her shoulder's hurting, and her shoulder does hurt, and she said, I'll just tell it off. I tell it, it's all right. Don't need to hurt me, I'm going to make the cake. So what can you make with your hands? What can you do with your hands? Even if it's just stroking the earth or stroking an animal. I saw a funny, I'll finish up now with a very sweet cartoon of a man and a dog sitting on a couch looking out of the window. And the man saying to the dog, now I understand why you usually get so excited when somebody walks past the window. Because that's how it is for me right now when somebody walks past. Wow, isn't that exciting? So it's time now to really, we will, I'm hoping, begin to appreciate one another more, but begin to be more respectful of boundaries, Saturn boundaries. So I just want to thank you very, very much for being with me today. I want to thank Lucy for really being amazing and helping and asking questions and really encouraging you with different suggestions here. Thank you, Lucy. And I'm just very, very grateful to have you with me. And so is Teddy. Bye for now.